This week on Sci-Fi Buzz, how becoming the world's most famous Klingon has changed Michael Dorn's life.
It is not enough to look like a Klingon. One must act like one.
Buzzing with Star Trek writer and award-winning novelist David Gerald. And who says science fiction has to be high-minded? We'll salute silly sci-fi.
Prepare. Stand by. The buzz.
Movies. Personalities.
Sci-Fi.
FX.
Behind the scenes.
Cutting edge. Get ready.
Sci-Fi.
Buzz. Hey Buzzers, welcome to Sci-Fi Buzz. I'm your host, Mike Gerald, but you probably knew that. And you probably knew this, the rumor flying around that Superman is losing his cape. No more red for Superman. When DC comes out with the issue, I think it's 123 in March, he's going to be white hot and blue. No more red for Superman. Now, we want to help DC out. Dave Lowe, why don't you come on in here? This is kind of Sci-Fi Buzz Martha Stewart in a way. He's our set designer here and our resident comic book fan. And you've done some renderings. This is the kind of the way, this is the way that Superman looks back.
This is the one we all know.
When?
In the 1930s. Now, we decided...
You did that?
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
Then we decided, let's go with more superhero boats, streamlined, very Kevin Sorbo-ish.
So you think that DC might have this
Yeah,
as
they're
their new
streamlining them, making them more up to date. But after many memos,
Yeah,
late
many
night
memos,
meetings,
sure, yeah.
this is what we're submitting.
Is that supposed to be me?
Maybe. You know.
What are these little booties? This is pathetic. What is the underwear? You know I wear boxers. Well, I guess you wouldn't know that, would you?
No, well, not since the Christmas party, no.
Brave Dave, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much, appreciate it. This is one Superman.
For as long as I can remember, I have always been an outsider. I was raised by humans, but I was too Klingon to be one of them.
Michael Dorn plays the most famous Klingon in the Star Trek universe, Lieutenant Commander Worf.
Defend yourself.
He first appeared in the role a decade ago on Star Trek The Next Generation. That show ceased production in 1994. But Worf proved to be so popular with viewers, Dorn was persuaded to beam aboard Deep Space Nine last season as a regular cast member. People in your everyday life, your relatives, family members, do you remember the first time they saw you in that makeup?
Yes.
Did they go,
No, it was my mother and my family, and they kind of look at it. She doesn't look at Hollywood or this type of stuff as anything except, God, I hope he's got a job for a while now.
But now, I mean, you're fine now. I mean, I'm sure you're financially set. Has she relaxed?
Yeah, I got to tell you, the funny thing is she finally relaxed when she got recognized as being Michael Dorn's mother. Then she says, you know what? You're an actor, aren't you? I said, yes, Mom, I've done fairly well, and it's been 20 years, and I think now she finally, after all this time, realizes that it's not just a hobby and that I don't need a second job at the post office.
That's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Perhaps today is a good day to die.
How are you looking at yourself? Are you a squirmer?
Oh, big squirmer.
Oh,
God, that moment. Oh, God, why did I do that? Yeah, big time. I mean, and usually it screws with me for the next week.
Come out of war. I need to know exactly what's been happening. We just lost contact with Deck 16. Communications, internal sensors, everything.
Dorn recently rejoined his next-gen castmates on Star Trek First Contact. The movie made mega bucks at the box office and introduced a fearless breed of meanies to the big screen, the Borg. The Borg, very appealing as an enemy. Is it going to push the Klingons out, do you think?
No, the Klingons have always been the guys that are on the edge out there, and I think
they'll always be with us.
Yeah, the Borg are an enemy that you can basically fight. That's pretty evident right there. They know that they're after you, and that's it. But the Klingons are more clandestine. They're more humanoid, so that it's tougher to deal with them in those type of situations.
No, please. Don't get any ideas. The last time you messed around with the cerebral regulator, we lost power for over an hour.
Dorn will appear in the sci-fi telefilm Menno's Mind on the Movie Channel later this year. And he continues to host the science-oriented World of Wonder series on the Discovery Channel. Plus, he turned up in the hot-selling CD-ROM Mission Critical. Yet, despite his ventures outside of Star Trek, the active actor says he looks forward to spending the next couple of years on Deep Space Nine.
I am not interested in excuses. Are you a Klingon warrior or an Alvarian dung beetle?
Worf being on Deep Space Nine really has helped the ratings of that.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I, you know, like I said, I love the challenge of when they hired me for that. I went, oh boy, you know, what if the ratings don't improve? You know,
Mom.
Yeah, Mom, you got that application for the janitor's job? And so it has improved, and so that was good. I mean, I'm really happy about that.
Next, some of the nuttiest, most demented sci-fi films ever.
3, 2, 1, liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Have you ever wanted to blast off into space? Well, now you can, and for under $5,000. The only catch is you have to be dead first. A company called Celestis Incorporated is offering outer space funerals for those looking for a less than traditional post-mortem experience. The Houston-based Celestis will launch your ashes into Earth orbit, where they'll join the ashes of other deceased space travelers, people like Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry and space colony designer Gerard O'Neill. Your remains will remain in orbit for about 2 years, then they'll re-enter the atmosphere and burn up like a shooting star. But hey, what a way to go! And that's the latest buzz. I've noticed our emails have increased, so have the phone calls, because, this is my belief, Heather's been here. They're responding to you, Heather.
Oh, yeah,
Heather
they are.
is also a singer, by the way. Didn't she give you a little bit of Madonna? Papa Don't Preach? Can you sing something from Evita real quick?
No, that's not my style.
Then give us an email.
All right, we've got an email from Renee in West Palm Beach.
Oh, yeah?
She says, hey, Buzz, how about featuring some funny sci-fi for a change?
Oh.
I mean sci-fi that's meant to be funny, not just the bad kind like the kind on MST3K.
Oh, okay. I get what she means. I tell you what, we can give you a list of videos that you go out and rent right tonight if you want to. And they're videos that have fun with sci-fi, but on purpose, just like you asked. Science fiction films don't always have to be serious and important and meaningful. Yes, sci-fi can be silly. Is that so wrong? In the 1950s, countless sci-fi movies used the monsters from outer space premise to terrify audiences. The 1988 film, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, pays tribute to those earlier pictures. But here, the aim is to get laughs, and the style of humor is decidedly savage. The unique twist to this twisted little flick is that the invading aliens look like circus clowns, and their spaceship resembles a big top. Much of the humor derives from the inventive ways the blood-drinking clowns dust their victims.
What are you in for?
In Earth Girls Are Easy, the intergalactic visitors aren't out to kill, but to have a good time. And the humor is much softer edged than in Killer Clowns. After landing in the San Fernando Valley, 3 aliens are introduced to the Southern California lifestyle by a ditzy manicurist. She gives the guys a makeover so they'll blend in better. After the fur comes off, you'll notice that one of the extraterrestrials is a not yet famous Jim Carrey. Many of the jokes have to do with the culture shock the boys experience in La La Land.
Finland babes! Yole, yole, yole!
Hey, didn't you go to Van Nuys High? Van Nuys High? Aren't you Terry Harper's brother? Terry Harper's brother?
The British are known for wacky, cynical, and irreverent comedy. And that British bent is exceedingly evident in this exceedingly bent film called Morons from Outer Space. The plot concerns several humanoid aliens who crash land on Earth. Despite being complete doofuses, they are hailed as visiting heroes and become pop stars.
Are you ready for it? It's great to be on your planet! Hey!
The film's clever premise is that although extraterrestrials are capable of making a space flight to Earth, they are not necessarily brilliant.
I have traveled far to your planet. I come in peace. Will you speak with me?
Possibly the weirdest sci-fi comedy ever made is Meet the Hollowheads. The picture takes a 1950s-style family sitcom and sets it in a futuristic society. The viewer is transported into an entirely new and completely alien world of bizarre technology, odd customs, and peculiar creatures. This film is definitely not for the squeamish. It has its gross and sick moments. But then, don't we all? And you can't deny that it possesses a truly unique vision. The imaginative set design is sort of Blade Runner meets Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Cindy. Don't you think you're a little too young to be using softening jelly?
So, if you feel you've OD'd on sci-fi flicks that present high-toned visions of the future, give a couple of these films a spin in your VCR. They may not be lofty, but they sure are fun. Well, Susan, one of our producers, is tanning.
My name is Luigi Novi from Union City, New Jersey. I highly recommend the comic book series Astro City, written by Kurt Busiek with art by Alex Ross and Brent Anderson. It is an excellent comic book that tells of what life is like in a city populated by superheroes. Rather than focusing on superhero battles and slugfests, it focuses on the guy on the street. It's an excellent book. It's especially good for people who have never tried comic books or who shy away from them, because all the characters are brand new. One of the most critically acclaimed books currently on the market, and I suggest that everyone give it a try.
I loved Star Trek. The original Star Trek was a great adventure. It was a wonderful place to play. There were great people there. It was a very special time. At that time, it wasn't this big hit. It wasn't a phenomenon. It wasn't a franchise. It was this little second-rate show that probably was going to get canceled, and nobody really understood what it was except those of us who were in on the secret.
The trouble with Tribbles may have gotten him some early attention from the television industry, but it's the nearly 30 novels he's written since then that have firmly established David Gerald as a popular and respected science fiction writer.
I want my readers to walk away from my books feeling two emotions. I want them feeling satisfied, and I want them feeling that they want more. It's kind of like eating chocolate. You know, you have a piece of chocolate, you say, that was good, I think I'll have some more. I'd like to be the chocolate of science fiction.
Fans of Mr. Gerald have found his works habit-forming. A big reason for the reader loyalty seems to be Gerald's ability to write about a wide range of sci-fi subjects. Experience has taught him that success lies in writing about what interests him.
In the early days, I was writing a lot of stuff I didn't like reading. And one day I realized I don't like reading this. A lot of my short stories I hated. And then one day I realized, why don't I write the stuff I would most like to read? I think my writing is better when I'm writing the stuff I enjoy reading, because I know I'm satisfying at least one customer.
Growing up in Los Angeles in the 1950s, Gerald had a fertile imagination and a voracious appetite for reading fantastic stories. Legendary author Robert Heinlein was a personal favorite.
I think science fiction writing is the it's just the most exciting area to work. You can write about anything you want. You get to write about the human condition. It's what attracted me to science fiction is, as a reader, I was like 9 years old when I discovered my first Heinlein juvenile, rocket ship Galileo. And then I discovered Between Planets and Red Planet. I think you could blame Heinlein for just steering my entire life in this direction.
A profound change occurred in Gerald's life a few years ago when he decided to adopt a son. Bringing a child into his world not only altered his day-to-day routine, it transformed the content in many of his stories.
In terms of my writing, I'm writing a lot less adventure and a lot more what they call sensitive stories. And there's a lot more positive stuff in my stories than, I mean, I always thought my stories were positive before, but I found that that wasn't the way the readers perceived them. But then I wrote The Martian Child, which is a very upbeat and uplifting story, and people are perceiving it as a breakthrough story.
The Martian Child, based on Gerald's evolving relationship with his son, won both the Hugo and Nebula Awards for Best Novelette. The author's stubborn desire to write about subjects that appeal to him has enabled him to draw countless readers into his imaginative world.
I've worked on TV shows, and I've had people say, and sometimes when they didn't know I was listening, say, oh, David, you know, David isn't from this planet. He's just reporting back. And I think, good, I got my job done. You know, I tell people I don't live here, I'm from the future, I'm just reporting. And some people get it, and other people think I'm weird. So I've had people telling me I'm weird all my life. I might as well enjoy it.
Superman.
Just based on the rumors, Mike.
I actually have them on right now. Who do I look like here? I look like Dick Clark or something in this picture.
It looks like you.
Bill Clinton. That really looks like Bill
Yeah.
Clinton?
Bill Clinton.
Has anybody seen Fargo? I guess you all have. There's that
yeah.
guy, everybody says I look like that guy in Fargo, the insurance salesman or car salesman?
Oh, W.H. Macy.
Yeah, a little?
bit.
Yeah, okay. And the wings, I like that. Is that from Michael? Michael the Archangel?
Sure, but basically with the show, the budget is cardboard. So.
Thank you, Dave. We'll see you next week.
Join creator George Lucas for an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of his fully restored epic, the Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition, The Force Returns, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, Sci-Fi Friday. Now stay tuned for Inside Space.